going to start with our first guest on this sponsored segment of WIN TV, and that is Gwen Carr. Help me in welcoming her to the program.
What are your thoughts on this proposed menthol cigarette ban?
I am against the menthol ban because it's going to cause unintended consequences. It's 80% of the Black Americans, the Black communities that smoke the menthol cigarette. And this is where the problem lies. When the medical profession is ready to come down on someone, who are they going to bring with them? The police officers. They're not coming by themselves. Why aren't they going in Marlboro country? Why aren't they banning all cigarettes? Menthol never killed anyone. It's the nicotine and tar that's in every cigarette that's killing people. So to me, you are targeting a certain group of people.
Wow. Gwen Carr, welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a real pleasure. I've had a chance to meet you in the past and to see your advocacy on so many levels, thanks to the fact that you're out here fighting for the life that you lost of your son Eric Garner, but also other issues that impact our community. So, what's keeping you so busy?
Well, that's part of my healing, keeping busy, trying to save other lives, even though I lost my son almost 10 years ago, but there are other lives that we have to save.
Ms. Carr, do me a favor and our viewers a favor, because we know the name Eric Garner, and there's parts, aspects of his loss that sort of still echoes in our ear. But can you, if you don't mind, just refresh our recollection of what happened to Eric?
Yeah, well, in July it would be 10 years. 10 years ago, the police officers in New York City, they Pantaleo particularly, he choked my son to death. My son said, "I can't breathe." 11 times he said, "I can't breathe." But they were disconcerted about his life. They did not put any value on his life and murdered my son that day. And from that day on, I've had a dark place in my heart. And I decided, instead of just to sit in the corner and mourn, I was turning my mourning into a movement. And now my sorrow is a strategy. So I'm going to advocate, I'm going to uplift his name, and until the day I die, everybody's going to remember who Eric Garner was or is.
Is there, and we're really proud of you, because as I said, I've seen you speak, you going around the country, you've met with other mothers, and talk about the relationships that you've developed as a result of that.
Well, we have developed an extensive relationship. Now, lots of people know the name Eric Garner, they know Trayvon Martin, E.R.I.C, but there are so many thousands of mothers that no one even heard of their name. And we go around the country and we advocate. We get people who had no media coverage, who had not even 5 minutes on TV, and we bring them and we share our platform with them. And once a year, I get together with them. I bring them to New York, and we just sit and we commune together. We embrace each other. We empower each other. We don't necessarily speak about the tragedy, because we all know the tragedy, but we speak about our children as they lived. We talk about how funny they was, how silly they was, what they liked to eat, what their strengths were. And this gets us over. And a lot of people, a lot of the mothers, they healed this way.
I think a lot of the mothers, including yourself, have looked and recognized how legislation, how laws across the country impact, the lives of the individuals that you've lost, the children that you've lost. And I'm pretty sure you've advocated for some of these laws to be changed. Are there any success stories that you think you've experienced, or what is it that you're still working on?
Oh, sure. Some of the success stories we've had. Well, first of all, meeting with Governor Cuomo when he was governor, and we got an executive order for a special prosecutor signed, and that was with myself and other New York mothers going up to Albany on a regular, snow, rain, sleet, we didn't care, and asking him to meet with us, which at first he didn't. But then we brought makeshift coffins, put them in front of his door, and asked him, "What are you going to do with all these bodies?" At that point, he decided to meet with us and told us if his special prosecutor bill didn't pass in session, that he would speak with us. So it didn't pass. So we went back to him and we got him to sign the executive order for the special prosecutor, which what it does when these senseless killings take place, it takes it out of the hands of the local DA and put it in the hands of the attorney general, the state attorney general. And this now is law. And another law that I've gotten passed was the Eric Garner anti-chokehold bill, which makes it against the law for the police officers to choke anyone or to restrict their breathing. And the Right to Know Act. I've been on a lot of bills, and I've asked the lawmakers, the legislators, to stand with me. And I don't believe in writing letters. I don't believe in phone calls. I want to look at them in the face. I want to face them face to face and take roll call. Are you going to support us?
I mean, I commend you and the mothers for going right to the juggernaut, the legislators who, a lot of these laws have protected police and other entities, and now you know where to go to get those laws changed.
Definitely.
As it relates to Eric, though, your son, the police encounter had something to do with him and cigarettes, right? And so now you are taking this to another level as it relates to the opinion piece you wrote. Listen to the concerns of Black mothers. A menthol ban pales in comparison. Talk a little bit about why you wrote that op-ed and what's in it, and what you hope to accomplish as it relates to this menthol ban.
Well, see, the menthol ban is personal to me because um, my son was targeted for selling cigarettes. Although that day he wasn't even selling cigarettes. It's just that he had a target on his back, as they do in most of the Black communities. Now, with the menthol ban, what would happen is now that you're not supposed to smoke menthol, the police will have more access to the Black and brown communities because it's 80% of the Black and brown communities, the people who smoke menthol, which I don't smoke, I never smoked. But still, I don't want my communities to be impacted because they smoke a menthol cigarette. Menthol, as I said before, never killed anyone. It's the tar and nicotine in every cigarette. And they're not banning every cigarette. They're only targeting the Black communities. They're saying that they want to save our lives. They want to save the young children's lives. But now, if you look at statistics, the young people, the youth, are not smoking that many cigarettes anymore. They're smoking weed, which they have legalized. So, I mean, but they're switching the witch for the devil. I mean, tell me what is the concept behind this? And we as Black mothers, we are really against them coming into our neighborhoods because now if they ban, look what would happen if they actually banned the cigarettes. The community, the Black market will open up. It's already there, but it will be more widespread. Because if people want to smoke, if that's their choice, they're going to get their cigarettes no matter what. I say, it is a health hazard, but I think we should educate and we should have more hospitals. We have some places, say like in Westchester County, that don't even have an operating hospital.
Wow. Yes.
Being that I've been on this journey, I found out so much about there's so much on these menthol cigarettes, but what about the health care behind it? What about the education behind it? This will help more people than banning those cigarettes because people have their own mind.
Well, we've determined or discovered, and should have known by now, but the menthol ban is already in place here in the District of Columbia. But we're almost footsteps away from Maryland and Virginia, where there is no ban. And so, we figure those who smoke menthol are probably going into those communities to get the cigarettes. And if cigarettes now become so expensive, I mean, it's now, it's not every man's uh, event, because it is so expensive. But the Biden administration, has delayed announcing its verdict on the ban until March. Today is March the 1st. What are you all doing or how are you focusing on the president's national ban? We know some states have banned menthol already, but this national ban is what you're focused on, correct?
Yes.
Right.
And we say to that, there's other things that he could focus on rather than a national menthol ban.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in fact, Yvonne, Yvette Clark, one of our Congress ladies, she mentioned over 2 years ago about protecting the Black women and the Black girls. And this is an appropriate month for that. This is what he should be focusing on. This is what he should be prioritizing and prioritizing the education, the health, not on just a cigarette,
Mm.
because people are going to get their cigarettes if this is what they want. They're going to go into other counties. Let's do it right. Sometimes they make a law. It seems like a good law, but it's with bad consequences.
Right.
And
And
we are going to feel the most impact of these consequences if this ban goes through. So I am really praying that it doesn't go through. But we know that the president is going to do what he wants to do, but we are still speaking out that this is not going to be a good policy.
well, you're battling against a lot of the national Black civil rights organizations who are actually calling for the ban, and I think the issues that you're raising are significant. And so, what are going to be your next steps?
Well, our next steps, we're still going to be talking loud. We're still going to be speaking out. Even if the ban goes in effect, we're still going to be trying to combat it because we just think that it's going to be a bad idea for our Black and brown communities. We're going to have people coming in there, Black marketing, selling cigarettes over the internet. All kinds of stuff is going to happen because of this ban. So I think the ban should be rethought.
So, Miss Carr, in addition to what you're fighting against, you're also fighting for the passage of the Black Women and Girls Act. You just mentioned that with Congresswoman Yvette Clark. Tell us a little bit about that and why you think that should be a priority.
I think that should be a priority because now I'm not well versed in it, but I'm enough versed in it to know that this is a serious issue. That Black women and girls, we are on the low part of the totem pole when it comes to health, education, economics. They don't recognize us enough to pay us enough, to pay us attention enough. And this need to be prioritized. And I say to the president again, prioritize this first.
How are things going with the foundation?
Oh, the foundation is coming along, and
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say that it has been a joy, like working with people, working with children, trying to get their lives on track. Because we have a lot of people out here we have to save, mostly the youth, and we want to meet them where they are. We don't want to tell them what we want them to do. We want to know what they want to do, so we can help them with that. And the Eric Gardner, the Eric Initiative Foundation, and this is what we do with that. And every year we have a gala, we raise money so that we can do more work. There's a lot of work to do in the communities. Um, we do turkey giveaways, we do Christmas giveaways, um, we provide food to families because there's a lot of people, even though we are in New York, there's a lot of hungry families. And we try to provide them with their needs the best we can. So that's why we ask for everyone's help to help us to provide for the New Yorkers.
Ms. Card, I really appreciate you being with us today. And I didn't really get a chance to ask, really how you're doing. You're saying this advocacy work really helped you, to to get, I don't think you've ever gotten over it, but to deal with your son's untimely death. And like you said, there are thousands of mothers out here who are experiencing the same thing. Before we go, do you have any advice for some of those mothers that, may be similarly situated, haven't gotten the publicity, but are struggling right at this moment to
Yes,
deal with
there's
that?
a lot of struggling mothers. We have mothers who just can't get out of bed. We have mothers who are in the hospital taking strong medications, and we try to reach those mothers, and we try to tell them, you your child is gone, but don't let the world forget who he is or she is.
Hmm.
Advocate for him. Say his name. And if they tell me, well, people don't even remember, they never knew who he was, you make them remember who he was. You form community groups. Your community knew who he was. And let your community help you reach out. And, reach out to us. Reach out to the mothers who have commune and have a group. How we talk about things like this and how we can help you. So just don't sit back, because if you don't say nothing, nothing is going to be done. You
Mm.
must uplift your child's name.
And before we go, I'm like the Baptist preacher. I keep saying before we go, and one more thing. But I want to go back to the gala really quickly, because this event, where like you said, you raise money to support organizations. But I mean, if there are people here in the Washington area that want to come and participate, is it still? Well, yeah, it's not until September. So what would they need to do?
Yes, they can go to the Eric Initiative Foundation.org. We have a donation button. We have where you can purchase tickets, and people come from all over. When we have this gala, we have people from all around the nation. We have, but last year we had 27 mothers that came from all around the nation to this gala. So this is what we want to represent, that we don't forget about anyone. So please, if you would like to come, please do. And you can, and everything is going to be done in one hotel this year. So you can even rent yourself a room if you want to stay for the weekend.
All right, this card. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much for being with us today. I really appreciate it to have this conversation, and I am in awe. I admire, your tenacity and the work that you're doing in the community. So many mothers need to hear your voice, and so thanks again for being with us.
And thank you for having me.
All righty, have a great one.
And you too.
Okay.